Welcome. I'm Shane Miller, your host for Summit Arts Showcase. One of the greatest challenges for anyone who aspires to create any art is getting it seen and hopefully appreciated by others. If you're a writer, it's finding a publisher. If you're an artist, it's finding a gallery. And if you're a musician, it's finding a venue. We are so lucky here in Summit. It's a warm and welcoming place that provides aspiring artists a place to showcase their work. I'm speaking about Boxwood Coffee House on Beechwood Road. Each month they sponsor an open mic night that gives musicians, poets, and actors a platform to display their talents. Recently we brought our cameras to performance, and this entire episode features an eclectic group of artists who came out to perform that evening. The first group of artists is called Dollar Holler. They're four guys who have come together to play what they describe as dark bluegrass, in the tradition of Earl Monroe and Flatt and Scruggs. But it's art, so you get to decide. Take a look.
I'm William, and I play fingerstyle guitar.
I'm John. I play flatpick guitar, and I play the accordion, and I sing.
I'm Will. I play the fiddle, and he's trying to get me on harmonies as well.
Hi, I'm Christopher. I play the banjo.
I think it's fair to describe our music as sort of a dark bluegrass. We've all been kind of interested in bluegrass music, but there's a sort of an element to the Appalachian music on which it was based that has kind of a haunting element to it that I think kind of was interesting to us. Was that fair to say?
Yeah. Well, when I was growing up, I had Baxter's Blues and Ragtime Fingerpicking Manual, and I learned the songs from that book cover to cover. And over the years, it's sort of evolved. My tastes have evolved, and I've become more interested in bluegrass, Appalachian music that I play with Dollar Holler.
Well, in college, I saw the movie High Lonesome, which is a great documentary, by the way, about the history of bluegrass music, and that completely just drew me into the whole genre of bluegrass music, Bill Monroe and all that. What about you guys?
I'm very interested in Doc Watson, also a huge fan of banjo players in general, Bella Fleck, Tony Trischka, Earl Scruggs, and just generally bluegrass or Americana type musicians.
And I have a very different answer, because bluegrass isn't really native to me. Grew up as a classical violinist, and then I played around with jazz in high school and started listening to people like Stefan Grappelli, some old jazz artists on the violin. And then these guys introduced me to bluegrass, and now I'm listening to Bill Monroe and all the other bluegrass guys.
Our three daughters went to school together, actually at Temple Sinai Preschool in Summit. And
we were the three fathers
yeah.
who showed up to pick up their kids.
Right, that's right. Yeah,
and
that's
so,
how we met.
So in a sense, it's just a great coincidence.
Yeah, and somehow, I guess I'd heard, I think through William, that Chris played banjo, and then I said, because I had been in a previous, like a punk bluegrass band called Those Arrogant Tree Frogs, and I was, I started to be, maybe we could start doing it again. And that time our girls had reached the age where we had a little more time to actually do some stuff, on the side that was kind of put aside for a while.
Well, and I think at the beginning, a lot of it was, let's have a big play date.
Yeah, exactly.
And while the girls played together, we played together in the basement. And you and Will knew each other.
Yes, Will and I played together in some other sort of configurations, and then we sucked him in when we played a holiday concert last year in Scotch Plains, and we did some arrangements of Christmas songs, but that fit into the Dollar Holler style.
Very dark Christmas.
Yeah, dark Christmas songs. And it kind of, I think Will caught the bug, I think was the term he used. Most of the music we play, we haven't written ourselves. There's some originals that we haven't really played out much or released yet. Most of it is traditional songs.
But it's arranged in a way that's not.
Yeah, we rearrange it because there's a kind of a canonical way that a lot of bluegrass players look at the music, that when Bill Monroe played it, that's the way it has to always be played. Our rearrangement of it is pretty non-traditional. It doesn't follow the usual. There are elements of that are the same, but we definitely stray from the mainstream with that.
We play a lot of open mics. And I have to say that there's a woman who lives here in Summit, New Jersey, Ellen de Havilland, and she's been very helpful in promoting the group and getting our music out there and giving us places to play.
I think you had said you hadn't played out in 20 years before we played at
I
Boxwood.
hadn't played out in 20 years until
I hoodwinked him into playing.
until the two of us played together.
I think a lot of us have a need to connect with other people, and just playing music out in front of an audience and being like, this means something to me, and then getting that back from the audience is just really rewarding.
For me, it's important because music brings people together. It brought the four of us together, and I think that we probably wouldn't be friends without music. We have very different personalities, very different interests outside of music, and music brings us together, brings other people together out to hear us. And I've just had a passion for music since my teens, since my early teens, and can't imagine my life without it. I can't imagine being more than a couple days away from my instrument.
Music's the one thing that like binds humanity together, and like, you know, no matter what age group you are, no matter what music you're into, like if there's someone around playing like a ukulele or a banjo or a guitar, like it's sort of interesting, it's sort of fun to hear, you sort of become engaged with it. And I'm a teacher in my other part of my life, and I see the same thing with children. If I get an instrument out, all of a sudden I have like full engagement.
Yeah, for me it's really just about the fun, and it's about bringing new art to life. And it does a new artwork doesn't really come to life unless you have other ears. I mean, there is joy in just playing at home by yourself, and you can find joy in a piece of music and perfecting the music, but it doesn't really become a piece of art until you have other ears to hear it. And whether that's an audience or you're just playing together with 3 other guys in a basement once a week, you know, at that point it becomes something larger than it originally was.
The biggest piece of advice I would give other artists is don't be judgmental. Don't be judgmental of other artists, and especially don't be judgmental of yourself, because everybody makes mistakes. If I expected to play perfectly and held myself to such a high standard, I would never play out.
Don't make assumptions that I could never be a professional musician or I want to be a professional musician. It's just kind of take it day by day. Share your music with others, whether playing it with them or playing it out by yourself, and see where it takes you. That would be my advice.
And you don't have to be a professional musician. It's okay if it's your hobby. If it's your hobby and it's something you enjoy, by all means pursue it.
Our next performer is multi-talented. Her name is Renee Taylor, and she's a singer, writer, actor, and poet. At Boxwood, she was reading her poetry, but she's also written a book, and she serves as a motivational speaker. She's engaging with an upbeat perspective on life and wisdom beyond her years, which you can hear in her poetry. Let's take a look.
Sitting in my room, listening to the children playing on the streets, makes me wonder of the past of me and the part of me that forgot to laugh. Wiping the tears of joy of victory leaves me wondering of those days without worry. Nowadays days bring me nothing of compassion, asking day after day what happened and how can I get back? How can I make amends with the past? and how to meet the future face to face, and how to learn how to hit the street and play and laugh again with tears of joy. Thinking back.
Hi, my name is Brene Taylor. I'm actually a resident of Summit, New Jersey currently, and I am a recent entrepreneur. I was working here at Celgene, came back here for a contract, and my contract ended in August. And so that was the best thing that could ever happen to me, because I kept fluctuating between, stability, working for a company, and then working for myself and doing my passion. So since August, I have been following my passion. I've been performing. I just recently co-authored a book, and I'm going to be hosting and working on stage again. So I'm super excited about this change. I started performing with my brother, who's 6 years older than me, at 5 in kindergarten. We actually still have the newspaper clipping from Summit in talent shows. I sang all throughout high school, and then in college, I started acting. And post-college, went right into musical theater, casting. I freelanced with a couple of casting agencies along with modeling agencies. And just, it's in my blood. My mother's one of 9. They are all singers. My dad was a poet and into progressive jazz, so it's something that's just in my blood, and I can't help but to be passionate about art. So first, my dream job would be motivational speaking. I love to inspire people. I think that it's my art and my drive and my passion and desire for others to kind of overcome issues and concerns that I might have dealt with and challenges that I faced. I really want to help them through it. I want to help them navigate it, maybe so they don't have the same pitfalls, or they don't have to encounter the same challenges and obstacles that I did. So that is really my biggest, wildest dreams, to speak and travel throughout the world and mentor kids and youth and women. But as to what's on the horizon, there's quite a bit. My show is opening, Another Chance. It's a musical journey. It's a gospel drama. It's amazing. I saw this play 22 years ago. It was featured in the Newark Ensemble Company and Crossroads Theater. And I was just a high school student when I saw this at Crossroads Theater in New Brunswick. And it had such an impact on me. And being in that space and really just writing down my goals, writing down my successes and things that I want for my life has been so powerful and empowering to myself and others around me, because I realized that I've been manifesting what it is that I want. So 22 years ago, I said, I want to be on stage. I want to be doing this as a profession. And here it is. I'm before these amazing producers that have been off in this off-Broadway play to now be featured in this play. And recently as well, I'm going to be in Atlantic City. I saw that same show a year ago down in South Jersey, and afterwards I said to myself, this play is just absolutely astounding. It's amazing. I have to be in it. I reached out to the director and I said, I don't know what I have to do. I don't care what I have to do. I can get water. I can get lunch. I can be whatever it is you want me to be. I can be an understudy. I can audition, but I have to be a part of the show. And a year later, I manifested myself being in the show and being on the stage in Atlantic City in some of the greatest casinos for the first time. So I also want to advise anyone that wants to do this, or anyone that has a passion or something inside of them that's burning inside of them. You have to get it out. You owe it to yourself, and you owe it to the world to let your light shine and to have that courage to live out your purpose and live boldly, unapologetically, and just be you. So my book, so excited to be a co-author. I've been featured in a lot of other publications, but this is a time where my face, my name is tied to it. It's autobiographical, and I consider it somewhat of a preview to my autobiography. I started writing that in 2008, and to be featured on this platform with the likes of Les Brown and Johnny Wimbury and Nick Halleck and authors across the country is just such an honor. So it is a preview of my life, my upbringing, some of the struggles and challenges that I faced. And as a woman now, going to my womanhood of a woman of a certain age, I have some stories to tell. There's some lessons that have been learned, and there's been a lot of self-development that I've been working on, and that I really want to share those nuggets with other people like myself, where they can have a better way to navigate their life and their challenges. My art is my connection to the world, but it's also connection to my own humanity and just being in touch with self and just being honest about where you are in that particular day, in that particular moment, or that emotion that you're feeling. How is it that I came to be here, and what can I do about it? Or even a gratitude journal, even writing, your successes and the things that you accomplished throughout the year is also very great and therapeutic. So I always find it being connected to myself, and then being able to be on stage and express my art in the way that I do connects me to the human race, connects me to other people, other women that look like me, that have been through what I've been through, or my same age, and they can look on the stage like, oh wow, if she can do that, I can do that. So that's always been my mission in life, to just connect to people and inspire. My advice to anyone that would love to do something like this: do it anyway. Whenever you're fearful, when you feel like you're tired, when you feel like you can't go on, do it anyway. And you don't even realize that your breakthrough, the namesake of my book, your breakthrough can be on the other end of that fear. It can be on the other side of you feeling, oh, it's just too much today, or I don't feel like it. Do it anyway, because there's always someone out there that is waiting to hear that message, is waiting to be inspired by you, is waiting to get that same push. And I feel like my gifts, my talents, we all come into this world with some type of purpose. It's inside of us, but it's not for us to hold on to, it's not for us to bury, but it's for someone else, and to really get them through whatever it is that they're going through. So just do it anyway. As a Summit resident, being here now for 2 years since I moved back, it's been such an honor to connect with a lot of the other artists. I didn't even realize how much talent is just like right across the way, around the corner. And being connected to Boxwood was such an amazing opportunity, just going to a random Friday night open mic, just to actually, at the time I was surveying talent for my own event. I connected to the owner and connected to some people through the music moment, and it's been such a great experience just coming back recently to perform and to meet some other performers that were from the outside. It was great. I always find that no matter where you are, you need to perform and give it your best, whether it's an intimate setting of one person or 5 people or 1,000 people. You give it the same amount of energy. I think it's even better when you're connecting in an intimate space, because you can look into people's eyes, they can look into yours. And I love that I'm accessible to people. It always resonates with me when I can go to a really amazing mega event, and afterwards I can touch the person and say, thank you so much, that really changed me. And you can give them a hug, you can take pictures with them. And I love that setting at Boxwood.
And I don't know about everybody else, but I am a hopeless romantic. So for me, I always feel like it's empowering to write down everything that you want in life. Your goals, what type of man, what type of spouse, what type of woman, what type of life you want. Because it's something that you're retaining, but you're also putting it out there into the universe. Like, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to work to have. And you can almost manifest that just by writing it down. So I wrote this a while ago called I Want. So I want the man I love to give me the best of him all the time, because he can be assured that I can give him my very best. I want him to say I love you, even if he thinks it and he shows me that all the time, and to be proud to call me his lady, to consider my feelings always, to know how to say I'm sorry, to think about me all the time, and even after a busy day, finds time to call me just to say goodnight, to trust me with his heart and not just the material things, to call me beautiful instead of just hot or sexy. I want a kind of perfect love. I want.
The last artist to be featured on this episode of Summit Arts Showcase are singer-songwriter duo called Soul Haven, featuring 2 very talented musicians, Sal Roberts and Hayden Grayson. This duo only recently began performing together, but with their background in music, it appears they might have been a team for ages.
For the pen is now the sword, words are singers in a civil war, and marching for liberty through the devil's door. Words of wisdom, the ink of stone.
I personally have played many instruments in my life. I've always been a man of strings, for sure. I grew up playing the violin, and classical music really didn't do it much for me. Eventually in high school I picked up a guitar. It was my dad's electric. It was 1964 Fender Jaguar, and kind of the rest is history at that point. I really took to the guitar, and there I went. My father was an organist, my grandfather was a violinist, and my sister's a concert pianist, so music is very much in my blood.
Yeah, very interestingly enough, very similar. A lot of Juilliard musicians in my family, so I'm very blessed with that kind of an influence. But like Sal, I loved listening to classical music, but my heart was in popular songwriting, and yeah, I grew up with my mom playing the harp every day. Like, I didn't realize how spoiled I was. I mean, we had a tiny house, but we had a music room, and I thought everyone had a music room. Like I did. Like I thought,
we had a music room, but
I thought you know, you have your kitchen, your living room, your music room. I didn't know. But yeah, so had a big golden harp. It still does, and a like a baby grand piano. You know, my mom would play light FM a lot, and when she wasn't doing classical music, just while she was like dusting around the house and stuff. So I would hear like the Elton John Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, and would just that particular song, you know, even though it was not of my era, would just sweep me away into another, you know, universe on the piano. So, I mean, how about you?
For me, it's very interesting. So I grew up in a car where the kids were never allowed to touch the radio. Yeah, it was mom and dad only. and my father would play opera, so I'm very versed in opera, and my mom would play Motown a lot. So I mean, right off the bat, opera and Motown, completely opposites of the spectrum, right? And then, you know, my sister being a classical pianist, me growing up playing classical music, and then, you know, kind of having this classical exodus and going way more toward a blues and jazz side of things, and pop too, really. I mean, that was really what ended up pulling me in, popular music. But it's given me such a nice rounding and appreciation for a lot of forms of music, and I think it's such an advantage for me. It really is, because and the most beautiful thing is that I really don't have a favorite genre as a result. It's just I adore good music. Great music, really. Even in our inception, we were two real kind of solo songwriters, and we kind of really dug each other's vibe, and that's why we ended up joining together, and that's why we kind of have trouble giving it a genre, because we were singer-songwriters, and that's kind of a genre. We're no longer singer-songwriters, right, because we're together, but I don't know.
Like, I mean, there's a lot of Americana in our music, and so we love just the variety of music that's come from so many different places, you know, in America, and we kind of dig into those genres because we just we get so inspired, you know.
Yeah.
There's, you know, a little funk here, a little pop there, a little blues here.
Yeah, we try to pull whatever we can from anybody in a very compatible way. He is very lyrically based, very lyrically loaded. I'm very musically loaded. So from a critiquing standpoint, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. I'll write poetry that he'll just throw in the garbage, and I really appreciate that. And likewise, I'll throw his music in the garbage. but because we have those checks and balances, it's really a true art for art's sake, and we just don't leave anything. You know, there's not a second of wasted sound or lyric, not a second. We don't have time for that.
And we have a really similar, you know, I would say I think we have a very similar relationship in the sense of, like, you know, when I just saw the movie Rocket Man, like Elton and Bernie, they're brothers, and like pretty early on we just thought of ourselves as brothers. We
still, I mean, we obviously do. Yeah, we're friends of virtue, you might say.
You know,
when one receives good, the other receives good. No,
you know, we, in a good way, we fight all the time over what's the art, what is best.
We have a joke in the studio, and what we say is we have to compromise in everything. So as long as neither of us are happy, we're doing well.
Pretty much. Yeah, no, and we never walk away from a session angry at each other. You know, like you know, so it's
all for the sake of the art.
Yeah.
We started our group about January, I would call it January 1st inception, something like that, right? Roughly. But the project truly started January 1st. Yeah. And one of the things we wanted to test is, like I said, not too romantic, but a bit of research and development to see what the take is of our music. So we played a lot of open mics. So not a ton of major bookings yet, but once the reception was brilliant, we just went even harder at the songwriting, because we knew it was working. We knew going to work, and now that we have a growing set, we're going to be starting to book a lot of shows.
Yeah, so we're in the
future.
studio right now working on our first record. So we're gonna start with an EP, you know, and just put everything we got into those 4 songs. The Boxwood clip that you're watching was such an exciting evening. I mean, that place was jam packed, and just a lot, you know. We said it felt like playing in Madison Square Garden because
It did.
it was just, I don't know why.
Everything was comfortable too.
It was so exciting. It was so packed. I think we were all sweating like crazy. Like just really fun. Really being on stage it feels like a very honest, vulnerable place. Kind of like what we aspire in our songwriting. You know, we just bounce off each other, and you know, whatever experiences we're having in life, whether they're painful or appreciative, like to put that into song, kind of happens very organically, to use a cliche.
It does, and it's hard. It's really hard to force that sort of thing, because it does happen a little randomly here and there. One of us comes up with a certain stanza, or one of us comes up with a certain groove, and the other one goes, "Wow! Like, when did that happen?"
Yeah.
You know, like it's like, "Oh, I didn't think it was that great." No, we're gonna use that. So. And that's always really nice to have the reaffirming thing, to have another person be like, "No, we want to use that."
Yeah, great story. Sal texted me like a really bad quality audio, and it was the most amazing thing. And he's like, "Oh, if it's no good, I'll throw it away, whatever." And I'm like, "This is the most awesome thing!" And it became the main hook of the song "Sweet Melanie." That was our first song at Boxwood, and I was like, and even in that low quality audio, I could just feel his talent and his expression and vulnerability and passion. I'm like, we gotta make this into a song, and then we wrote it together, and that's kind of how Soul Haven. That's our band name.
Yeah.
He's, you know, it's kind of play off. It's a bit of a play off of our names, you know, because Sal, Hayden, and Soul Haven, but it didn't actually happen like that. That's actually literally happenstance.
We're going to be hitting New Jersey pretty hard as far as venues up and down Jersey to market the EP.
Yeah, and then slowly but surely we'll be expanding on the East Coast.
There will be a lot of playing once this record's complete, but we're really focused on the record right now, so we can show people what
we're all about.
Yeah, what's in our brain.
Yeah, and
they can share with us.
I'd say, like, you know, the night we played Boxwood was my dream venue, because we were there, and it was so exciting, and it was just like magical. It's a magical feeling. I hopefully you'll see that. You're hearing that. You're seeing that right now.
And that is our show. Thanks so much to Ellen de Havilland from The Music Moment and the folks at Boxwood for their help putting together today's episode. The common theme, if you have passion and perseverance, you can be the artist that you want to be. So no matter what your experience, age, or background, grab that passion and follow your dreams. I want to thank our friends at Summit Area Public Foundation for underwriting our show, and I encourage you to watch another episode of Summit Arts Showcase, where we'll introduce you to more of your neighbors who are following their dreams. I'm Shane Miller. Thank you so much for watching.